Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rachel. Today's video is going to be a lot different from my other videos, obviously. This is something that is super personal, and for a long time I didn't know if I wanted to post anything about it, just because it is something that's so personal, but also is such a big part of my life now that I feel like this is something that I do need to talk about, because in future videos, you know, I might just be really sad that day, but I don't want to act fake or act like I'm doing fine. I'm just going to share a little bit of what has happened. On September 28th of this year, my dad passed away from brain cancer. He was diagnosed on January of 2019, and throughout the year and a half that he was struggling with that cancer, battling it, he went through 3 brain surgeries. I think it was 2 or 3 rounds of chemo and radiation, and then he also did immunotherapy, which is a new sort of treatment for the form of brain cancer he has. December 16th, he got up to go to the bathroom and then couldn't use his right hand. He thought he was having a stroke, so he went to the hospital, and obviously them doing scans, they realized it wasn't a stroke. They did some MRIs, all that stuff, and then they saw a tumor in his brain. So that's when he had his first surgery, was in January of 2019, to be able to see if this is really cancerous or if it's just what is it called? I think it's benign tumor. So that's sort of when we found out that he did have the cancer. It was hard because I was away from home for most of his treatment, and I wasn't able to be home with my family. I have one sister and then 2 brothers, and they all were at home while I was at school, so that was really difficult for me to not be around while this was all going on. Thankfully, I was able to be home for summer break. I was able to spend time with him. Still had his strength, so I knew that he was feeling sick, but he still was able to go mountain bike riding and do things that he enjoyed. The cancer hadn't really taken that part away from him. He had another surgery. We were still just trying to treat it. He was still going through chemo and radiation. Fast forward to my sophomore year of college. That was when he had another brain surgery in March of this year. And so that was his third and last one. They decided after that they weren't going to do any more. They would just keep on trying to treat it. I think that that third surgery was the sort of point where it started going downhill really quickly. This was in March of 2020. I was at school at the time, but thankfully, like in hindsight, I am so thankful that I was able to go home. I was able to have like 6 months of seeing him before he passed away. So I'm honestly so thankful for it. I went home in April, and he had started a new round of radiation, and I think that it was just so hard on his brain that he had 2 seizures. He just really lost complete mobility on his right side. His speech went downhill so bad. He was trying his hardest to get better. He wanted to get better. He was going to physical therapy, trying to gain his strength back again. So I went back to school in August. I'm in my junior year right now. And I said goodbye to him before I left to school, because he couldn't like come down, obviously, because he was too sick to travel. When I said goodbye to him, like that was the first time where I like prepared in my head, like this could be the last time that you see him, or that you like give him a hug or like say goodbye to him. He went to a rehab center because it was too hard for him to live on his own. Like he no longer could walk up the stairs on his own. He needed help pretty much 24/7. Things progressed pretty fast in the last 2 months of his life. It was the middle of September. He got a fever and got sick and went to the hospital, and they did some tests, and they realized that he had an infection on his stitching from his surgery all the way back in March. And me and my sister were at school, and my mom just texted us and was like, your dad doesn't have like very much longer left. It could be any time within the next few weeks or months or days. So if you feel like you need to have goodbyes that you need to say, I suggest that you come home. And so that's what we did. We went home on Thursday or Friday, I think it was, and we went into the hospital to see him. Just me and my sister. We went. He was like on this ventilator. They had this nebulizer over his mouth, and we walked in and we were like, hi Dad, and he couldn't talk anymore really. So he just had a few more minutes left of his treatment, and we were like, it's okay, you can go back to sleep. We'll wait until you're done. He could still give facial expressions and still like show emotion, which was really nice. So me and my sister went and we sat down and just sort of waited for him to be done with the treatment. We were like sitting there crying because it's like so hard to see. And so he was like, we're sitting here, his bed is here, and he's facing away from us. And so the nurse comes in, she takes off his nebulizer, he's sitting there, and then he turns and he sees us, and he gets like all surprised again. He's like, oh my gosh, like you're here. And it was like so funny and like so sweet that he was like, oh my goodness, like you're here, I'm so happy to see you. And so that was just really nice to have. We just sort of were talking to him, couldn't really say anything back, but you know, we were talking to him. We were still having a nice time because we were trying to just, you know, soak up every moment that we had with him. As I got up to say goodbye, I just like went around and like took his hand and like, Dad, you're gonna go see Jesus soon, like it's okay, like we're gonna be okay here. You can, like, I don't want you to suffer anymore, like we're gonna be okay, and like I love you. And he was just like holding my hand and like nodding, and he started crying. That like picture in my head will never go away now, because just standing there holding his hand and like telling him like you're gonna go see Jesus soon, like you're gonna be in heaven. We went back to school that Monday, and then my dad was transferred from the hospital into hospice. The doctor said that he had about a month to 3 months left to live. And he had seen all of us. He'd seen me and my sister, and then he saw my brother who's 16. He saw him. The last person that he had to see was my youngest brother, and he is 10. My two brothers went to go visit him in hospice, and I think that was on Thursday or Friday. I think that once my dad saw all of us, he was like, okay, like I'm good to go now, like I've seen everyone. And so that's when all of a sudden, like, he just went extremely downhill. So my mom texted me that Saturday and was like, Dad's not doing well. I think that you need to come home. He'd probably, like, we don't even know if he'll make it through the night. And so that Saturday, me and my sister left around 2 o'clock, and then we got to the hospice around 11:30, and we all got a chance to be alone with him in the room. All of his senses were gone except for hearing, so he was able to still hear us from what they say. So we just kind of like said what we needed to. I'm sorry. Then we just sort of expected that to sort of be the last moment, but he was still alive through that Sunday. I went and visited him for a few hours, just sat with my mom. He was having very labored breathing, and was making a lot of like weird sounds because he was in pain. And then I went back home and just sort of waited it out. My mom stayed there through most of the night, and then she went home at like 4 in the morning on Monday. And then the nurse called my mom and said that my dad had passed away at 6:30 in the morning. He passed away that Monday morning on the 28th. Went that Monday morning with my mom, and I went to see his body. It was so nice because they had like all of these rose petals on the bed, and it was so sweet of them to do that. Through that next week, I was still just in shock, and I was crying and I was sad, but I still was just so confused. And then after the service that we had, when things died down, that next week afterwards, I was just kind of like, this doesn't feel real. Like, he's still alive. Like, there would be times where I thought I would like hear him pulling up the driveway, or I thought I could hear him coming up the stairs, and I was like, wow, he's coming up late. And then I was like, wait, he's not here. I think it's like part of like grief fog, where you forget that they're gone. And it's been really strange. I've been like feeling very numb. I think that it's weird, like the way that I can describe it is like I was so used to having him all the time, and then he passed away, and it's not like I can just like call him or text him and tell him that I miss him or that I love him. Like, he's gone, removed from my life, and now I have to figure out this whole new life that me and all of my family are going to be going through, like my dad not being here anymore. And I think it's just going to hit me really hard when I go back to school. I leave for school tomorrow, but by the time you see this, I will be back at school. But like, just him not being there anymore, I can't just like text him or call him, and I can't ever hear his voice again, and I can't ever hug him again, and he's not gonna see me graduate, and he's not gonna walk me down the aisle. I know that he's in a better place right now, and like the thing that's helping me so much is that he's with Jesus now, and that he doesn't feel pain anymore, and he doesn't feel any more suffering, and that's so encouraging for me. I'm just like so happy for him that he gets to be with him. Like, it's helping me so much, but I'm just scared for the holidays and just having, you know, Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of our traditions that we have, like not having him there anymore. Not having him there is just going to be really difficult, and it's just going to be a huge process, and I kind of want to document some of it, because I think that it will be, I don't know, like it might help someone else out there who's recently lost a parent or a friend or a grandparent, you know, whoever it is that just is dealing with this grief and is trying to walk through it. And so I just want to be sharing like what the Lord is teaching me and how he's walking me through it, and like what I'm experiencing. If you guys have any book recommendations, or if you have any podcasts that you like, please let me know. I am trying to read about it as much as I can. The 2 books that I'm reading I'll put up here on the screen so that you guys, if you want to, you can go ahead and check them out, read them. Go hug your loved ones. Like, you don't know when it'll be their last moment. Say that you love them, or tell them how much you appreciate them, or just to spend time with them. I would give anything for my dad to walk through the door. I'm sorry, okay. If I keep talking about it, I'm just gonna keep crying and sort of rambling on. So I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.